Hi, I'm Blake Jackson, and today we're going to tie one of my patterns. I've been working on this pattern for quite a few years, both here in Wyoming and in Montana, and I call it Macgruber. It's a good little midge mayfly sort of pattern. So this time of year in October, it's a great one to fish. So, and pretty darn simple. So first of all, I'm just going to start with black. This is UTC 70 thread, and I'm just going to bring her back to the back end here. And we'll give her a quick little trim. And then I'm going to take some black pheasant tail and just a few pieces of this. I don't need anything crazy. We're just going to put a small little pheasant tail chunk here on the back end. And again, this is black, so you'll see me lash this down, leave a little tail piece there. Then I'll go ahead and trim off my excess. And then I'm going to take a little piece of silver. This is extra small wire here. I'm going to take a small chunk of extra small silver wire and tie that in also. There we go. And then the back half of this bug is just black thread, so I'm going to provide a little taper to it. As you can see, this is pretty fine thread here. So I like to keep the profile pretty darn small. Just give her a few palm ring wraps here, equally spaced as we come up. I'll lash that down. And then I'm going to put on probably the most difficult part of the fly, which isn't too bad. And I'm going to use the base of this feather, if you can see the feather here. So I'm just using this little base piece that generally you would throw away or never really use. And we're going to use that basically as a back to come over the back half. So we'll put that fly in, or that feather in, but first I'm going to take one piece of flash here real quick. This is just straight Flashabou. You can use kind of any color Flashabou you'd like. I kind of like it relatively bright, so I'll use a pretty bright piece of it here. I'm just going to tie this in because we're going to pull this over the feather once we're complete. I'm just going to lay that right down the back, leave it nice and long so I can grab it. Then I'm going to take that little piece of pilaflume, that base piece of feather there, and we want that to sit on the back like that so that the tips of the feather are coming backwards. So I'm going to take my thumbnail and create a small little space in this, and that's going to be where I'm going to tie it down. So you can probably see this small space there. And then I'm going to tie it in backwards because I'm going to lay it forward. I'm going to set that right on top of the hook, lash that down, and cover the actual barb of the fly there. And we'll put a little thread behind it, and then I'm going to take a little bit of purple ice dub here, and we just need a teeny little bit of it. Don't need much at all. So just a little purple bottom to it. That might be just a hair too sparse. There we go. So almost just barely enough for one little wrap. So you can see I'm winding that relatively tight. You can always pick it out after the fact. Pull the feather back. Put a couple of really small fine wraps in there. Don't want to clog the head there like I almost did. Then we're going to take our thumbnail and we're going to push the feather forward right down the back end of the fly and lash that down. And basically we've created a nice little wing case here now. Just put a wrap or two in there to hold that tight. And then I'm going to take this flash back and I'm going to split it evenly as it comes right down the back end of that feather. And put a splice in there, and you can kind of help yourself out. A little tip there, if you pull up on your flash, you'll be able to set your thread just right. And then I pull it all back, give it a few little wraps, trim it nice and tight, and you grab your whip finisher and you've got it complete. Fishes really well during a blue wing hatch. tie it in multiple colors. And it's a good little nymph pattern, also works pretty darn good behind a little dropper, or as a dropper behind a dry.